Love you more. What's up, chat? Happy Tuesday. It's October 26, 2021, and we've got a more modest slate of NBA games tonight to chop up late lock. So we're going to go game by game here, chop it up a little bit, try to find some of the best plays. It is a weird slate, a couple of lopsided spreads. But nonetheless, everyone playing from the same deck of cards. I'm Gun. Twitter.com/Gundacker. And today, joined by Raj. Not Chronic, but Raj today. Raj,
you back in the building.
You almost lost your seat, man. Everybody wants Chronic.
Oh, it's like that. Well, hey, man, we're going to show them why we the main show. Why we 5-star ready to go.
Whoa.
Oh, no, lunch.
No. Chronic paved the way.
Shout out OG Chronic. I like Chronic. Am I frozen? My camera frozen for y'all?
Is it?
No, we're good now.
Okay,
we're good.
You're just a pair of lips. You're like the Indian James Harden on my side screen right now.
Hey, shout out James Harden.
What's up, Quan? What up, Justin Sports? Mia Moore. Look at that cutie. And then, okay. Oh, what's up, Ryan?
Oh, hello.
Rod's ready to go today. No lunch. I don't know.
We already ate, baby.
He was like, I already ate today. I'm good. I'm like, really?
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, I had some, what did I have? I had some chips and spinach dip and washing it down with good old-fashioned bang.
Bang.
But yeah, Rod, you get some action last night? The DFS action. Hold up. DFS.
Yes,
okay.
Yes to both, but no, DFS was good last night. DFS was definitely good last night. We had lineup was good. Cashed everything. I was mad I didn't put in a single entry. Could have won. Probably like $500-$600 with that one, but cash profit is profit. We'll take it. Mm-hmm. But today we already punched in our single entries. We reserved it. Still chasing the 100K like always. Let's get it. Let's eat. As Randy says, let's eat.
I preach contest selection every single day to you more than ever, but now you're just like a brick wall, deaf ears. But
what are you gonna do?
If you're gonna run one lineup, dog, one has to be in single entries, dog. It has to be. Not saying you can't throw it in the dart for the 100K, but come on. But yeah, last night was a weird night. It was a good night for me on Fanduel. I lost money on DK. Pinched a script last minute. Ended up with a little bit more miles turning than I should have. And he tanked. Oh, did he tank? But luckily I didn't have any on Fanduel. So Fanduel turned out to be a really, really plus night. I thought I was going to eat some crow for fading the Celtics. That's kind of like my MO, but I did fine without him. But man, the minutes limit on or the minutes restriction, whatever they said about Jaylen Brown, my man out there pushing almost 40 minutes with another overtime game for them. So I was like, And then not only that, but like him and Jason Tatum like both thrived in basically ceiling games, and you just don't expect that to be a regular occurrence. But I was fine with my I was pretty high in the 2v2 Pelicans game stack, right? Some Cat and Anthony Edwards with a second half to remember, because
facts. If he had that in the first half, he had like an 80-point game. It would have been nuts. But Boston kind of held us back from winning anything. Like we cashed, we were on the right team with Pelicans because you needed Schroeder. You need that Schroeder 50 bomb.
No, so late at night, Luke Kennard came up and started rising. But like, Cat led the slate in fantasy points, 40 minutes played for him, 32 real points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists. Giannis was my highest owned DraftKings player. He was fine, 60 plus. I'll never take that. I'll turn that down. Jonas Valanciunas with a 60 bomb. So I wrote in my spreadsheet, my favorite correlation play, if you can get away with it in your lineup, is J-Val and Brandon Ingram. Fire them at Cat and Anthony Edwards, and you would have had yourself a pretty high table set there. My boy Devontae Graham, friend of the channel, also had a really strong game. I actually think I saw him in the nut lineup, but there's a lot of high scoring performances last night that kind of like softened the blow if you overreacted to
Olynyk, the great Canadian, always comes through when he
Olynyk he was my late swap. Him and Cam Reddish, I went nuts on those two. Once I saw Reddish wasn't starting, right, then I got excited. And then Kelly Olynyk just felt like he was too cheap, so I late swapped a ton of him. Ended up getting those two guys at really low ownership, so they really helped me have a good night. Fred VanVleet had 17 assists yesterday, 43 minutes played. 50 fantasy points. So, you remember the $6,900 Van Vliet letting us down, and then he pops off like that. Any other surprises yesterday? Another great game for Miles Bridges, 40-plus fantasy points, 25 and 10. LaMelo, one of these days, LaMelo is going to get like 36, 37 minutes. It's going to go nuts. But he got to 45 on DK. I think he ended up with like 39 on Fanduel because he had 6 turnovers to boot. And he ended up fouling out, I believe. Other than that, not a ton of surprises. Couple of value plays that hit, couple of value plays that didn't. I saw some chalk value on like Jeremy Lamb, Jordan Ward. It was like nothing that was exciting. And then I saw a lot of ownership on Scotty Barnes, and he had a really bad game. So a couple of landmines that did exist throughout the slate. So hopefully you guys made it out all right, man. Those big slates, they get a little bit wild, and we're still accumulating data from each team. But man, it has been such a profitable season thus far. I can only hope tonight keeps it going. What do we got? 5 games tonight? 3-5. So a little bit more modest slate to kind of keep an eye on. Looking at the start times, we got a late lock anyway, 6:30 p.m. my time, so 7:30 Eastern, and then 1 game at 8. 1 game at 8, or 2 games at 8:30, 1 game at 9. So it's gonna be staggered pretty evenly throughout the night. And then Denver and Utah, which you probably wouldn't expect a ton from that game, is going to close it. So maybe we get the hammer from that one. Let's get caught up on chat. Chat, how we doing? We got a little bit of time, man. Let me know how you guys are doing. How's your start to the NBA season? Are you excited to have some more of these medium slates? I feel like so far we've had the big slate, the really small slate, the big slate. Me, I love that wheelhouse, that 6 to 8 game slate. That's where I thrive, and I haven't quite got that yet, but I'm still thriving. So hopefully we start getting a little bit more reasonable slate size day to day. What up, Dang Lazy Mofo? What up, Jim? Jim says we want chronic.
Well, you ain't getting chronic today. You're getting Jalen Carter, a.k.a. The Raj, a.k.a. Chocolate Thunder. Let him know.
What up, Dave Jones? Channel member Dave Jones. Yo, these channel members, they're about to get rewarded. I'm telling y'all, man. We're going to have to... I might start doing 1 channel member stream only a week, man. Woo.
Man.
We got to show them some love, man. A-Town down. I've hit 100K with a single bullet on DraftKings. Let's go. Yeah. No, I'm not saying...
I like to hear, baby. Hold on.
I wasn't saying don't... If you're running one lineup, don't play the 100K. But I'm saying if you're running one lineup and you're in the 100K... You're doing yourself a disservice to not at least put that in like a single entry somewhere. Because the lineup he showed me last night would have swept a lot of the single entries I was in. So you might be leaving some money on the table, trying to compete with 100K entries when you can really knock out 2K entries and get a little bit more value, get a little bit more bang for your buck. Randy says J-Val was the truth last night. PG and Dame, big disappointed. Man, it was the Blazers, right? Who are the Blazers? Are they good or are they not? I can't tell.
I'm telling you, Lillard's about to be traded at halfway through the season, end of the season, if they keep playing like this.
I don't know. He hasn't been hitting threes, right? The opening night, they gave all the credit to like Davion Mitchell for shutting him down. And then he's hit like 2 or 3 threes, I think is the stat.
Yeah, he's in a rough shooting patch.
Yeah.
He'll shoot his way out of it.
Jonas Valanciunas was absolutely free on FanDuel. Like free. 100% to exposure to J-Val on FanDuel in, I think we ran 25 lineups. So I told you guys that was my favorite play on FanDuel. He was so easy to get to. Dinwiddie sucks. Why would you choke on a revenge game like that? Aw. What up, Josh Jennings? What up, Justin Jennings? Well, we got 2 Jennings. What's going on here? How about them Cavs? Yeah, Cavs stunning the Nuggets last night. I didn't see that one coming. What up, Crispy? What up, Lorenza? Yeah. Chronic was 100% right about Miles Turner. All right, listen. Did he DM you? Did he tell you to say that? No, I mean Turner. Yeah, he got in foul trouble. He smoked up a ton of lineups. I did not. I honestly had more than I thought I did. I made an error somewhere on capping him. And then I was just sweating minutes before lock. Obviously, if I had enough time and enough awareness, every bit of Miles Turner would have become Kelly Olynyk. I still got to like 60% after the fact. But yeah, Turner was absolutely a tank job. He had like 0 at half or something dumb. And Chris Duarte made me sweat. He ended it reasonable, but I feel like every time I play Duarte to start the season, it's like a sweat until the end. And if it's either overtime or he gets there kind of late. But hey, what are you going to do? What up, Rich Miller? Timberwolves NBA Finals. All right, let's go. ABG here. G Yali. Quan. Gang. Oh my gosh. All right, hey, chat, let's talk about some news that we got to watch tonight. Like we said, 5 games on the docket. Pretty simple slate. Knicks hosting the 76ers. Got to look out for Joel Embiid news. And I think was Drummond doubtful or is he questionable?
That was questionable.
Was it?
I think he's going to play.
All right, keep an eye on that. I know he missed the last game. Let me.
He's questionable. So him and Embiid both questionable.
All right,
that's the first game.
Yeah, those would be pretty significant. Then we have Warriors at the Thunder. Iggy's questionable. Lakers at the Spurs. LeBron James questionable. That's pretty interesting.
Probable.
Is he probable?
Did that probable.
Just come out?
Oh wait, has been downgraded from probable to questionable.
All right, where have you been? That's kind of weird because I had him last night as questionable, and then I saw when I woke up today, I saw he was downgraded to questionable. I was like, dude, I literally had him as questionable last night.
I saw him as probable. I think I think late last night. I was like, oh, he's probable. But then that. So midday questionable, I guess early questionable.
Yeah, so look out for that. If LeBron doesn't play, that would definitely shape the slate in terms of where you would expect the field to go. Westbrook, Anthony Davis. And then we also have Mavericks hosting the Rockets. Only John Wall out for that one. And then the 218.5 total, Utah Jazz catching the Nuggets on night 2 of a back-to-back going in to Utah. Rudy Gay's out, Jamal Murray out. So really, the big ones to watch are Embiid and LeBron James. Those guys being in or out would certainly shake things up a little bit in terms of roster construction. And if one, if not both of those guys are out, it would create some opportunities that perhaps value, some opportunities to put a little bit more usage one way than the other. And then, of course, maybe looking for some...
Am I frozen? The chat's saying I'm frozen, gun.
Are you?
Yeah, man.
It's better this way.
It's definitely not.
I don't
want to see all of this.
I don't know why. Bad Wi-Fi. Westbrook's a lock if LeBron's out with that. Are you frozen? He's not frozen on my end. I don't know. Maybe if I put
actually, I'm moving too. No, I think we're good now. We'll see.
Tim, what up? Tim scored 333 on Fanduel last night with 2 points from Frank Jackson. No. Frank Jackson ended up not starting there. Josh Jackson drawing the start. That was a weird spot. If you weren't paying like hard enough attention, you just saw the lineup come out and you saw Jackson, you would probably assume, Frank Jackson. But man, that's crazy to score that much with so little from Frank Jackson. What up, great filibuster, the homie. He made it happen. Almost got there with 330. Reddish, Towns, J-Vel, and Kelly O. Let's go. He's not good, but he's visible. All right. I don't know. I don't know if it's because I had him like... I didn't minimize that window. I don't know. Chat.
I'm moving.
We just make
moving
it out
around.
Here.
Yeah.
We out here. We vibing. Anyway, let's start doing some breakdown here. Let's go to the breakdown screen. Let me make sure I got you guys lined up well. Chat, we will be using the RunDFS.com NBA VIP spreadsheet. You know the vibes. That's so dumb. So if you guys want to follow along, if you do have a RunDFS.com VIP subscription, open up the spreadsheet. I did just sweep projections about 10-20 minutes before I went live. Obviously, if news comes out while we're streaming, I won't be able to react instantly in terms of the projection, but we'll talk through it. When I go off the air, we'll be able to adjust accordingly. If you want to open the spreadsheet, go to RunDFS.com, get yourself a premium subscription, and more importantly, get yourself in to that RunDFS.com VIP Discord. Man, a couple nights in the last couple days, we've actually played after the lock in terms of the voice chat. We like to hang out in voice 2 hours before lock, talking some plays, making some lineups. But was it Friday or Saturday night? We ended up being there all night watching the game, sweating picks, sweating props, creating showdown lineups, and then we did it again last night. That's not gonna be like an everyday thing, but hey, every now and then it happens. Raj, I don't think you were around. My boy Young C, he had I think it was a 3-leg parlay. He was sweating Miles Bridges real points, and he got there in overtime. He got one bucket in overtime. My man flipped like $100 to like $1,300.
That's what.
And then
I know there's also the Evan Mobley prize picks.
The Mobley rebound prop, and then for the prize picks, they're also sweating the I think it was Will Barton fantasy points, and then on like his last possession he gets a steal, and they needed 3. And now it's, of course, worth 3. So it was some fun sweats there down to the wire. So that made it a little bit more entertaining. So anyway, that's what I'm talking about, man. The community at rundfs.com. I'm telling you, man, it's so much fun. So many different casting characters and winners at all different bankroll levels, all different sites. It's not just DFS. There's some prize picks, there's some parlay bettors, there's some sports bettors depending on your state, where you live at, man. It's so much fun. So you guys come be part of the community, rundfs.com. Good way to support the stream, support the channel, support the live streams, and get a little bit in return, right? Chronic's in the chat. What up, Chronic? Last night was a perfect example why you need to keep paying close attention to things after lock, injuries, and starting lineups. If you guys do use an optimizer, the late swap, the mass late swap is one of the most lucrative and profitable things you could have access to, and able to, instantly get to more Kelly Olynyk and stuff like that. Obviously, late swap is something you guys should be deploying if you are trying to balance your lineups. Like if you had a bunch of Miles Turner a quarter into the slate, and you're like, all right, these Miles Turner's lineups, they're probably dead if I don't do something crazy. You take even more risk and you get into some Luke Kennards, guys like that. But from a mass entry standpoint, some plays are just going to open up in the middle of the night that are going to be a little bit better than others. And not only will they project to outscore their price, but also be low owned because the field isn't as sharp as you are. So definitely take advantage of the late swap if you can do it. We get it. Everybody has families, everybody has obligations, but NBA definitely would be way more profitable if you have a couple nights a week where you can hang out after lock and make those moves. What up, Encore? What up, Jim? Fell asleep in voice chat. Was that you snoring? Philadelphia.
That's happened to me a couple times too.
It definitely has. You, and then Logan likes to.
Well, Logan just takes midday naps and then comes back in.
I never met someone that can do that. He's just like,
yeah, that's crazy.
I'll be back in 20 minutes. I'm gonna take a nap. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
No,
and legit comes back on time. He comes back on time. He never misses a block.
You're gonna do what? I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All the power to you.
What up, Shark Killer in the chat? The Grappler. Man, I'm trying to think of an old school wrestler. Chat, help me out. Danny Hodge. There we go. Philadelphia 76ers at the New York Knicks. First game on the docket tonight. One more time. Reminder, late lock, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 6:30 Central. 217 is our total. And the home team, New York Knicks, favored by a bucket. Your projected starting 5 for the 76ers: Tyrese Maxey, Seth Curry, Danny Green, Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid taking on Kemba Walker, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle, and resting Mitchell Robinson. Joel Embiid listed as questionable. Keep an eye on him. Obviously, his absence would sway. How sway? It would sway usage rates and responsibilities immensely. If you get the official blurb from NBC Sports Edge on Joel Embiid, he's dealing with right knee soreness. He's been listed as questionable for every game other than the opener, but he's yet to actually sit one out. So we'd be surprised to see him sit out a game at the Garden. That's a blurb from NBC Sports Edge. And then Andre, the Giant Drummond, listed as questionable with a right ankle. He missed Sunday's game due to the ankle issue, but he was wearing regular shoes, not a walking boot, and didn't seem to have much of a limp when he watched from the sidelines yesterday. So perhaps he'll be able to get back out there tomorrow. Again, from NBC Sports Edge. Shout out to them for the blurbs. Smeezy in the chat. What up, Kickstart? With this total 217, think about it, a 5-game slate. Foreshadowing a little bit. Yeah, the total seems a little bit slower, but we're going to have Golden State with a minus 9-point spread here. That could easily turn into a blowout. And then the Mavericks are favored by double digits. And then Utah catching a team on night 2 of a back-to-back, Denver to Utah. Really tough back-to-back. Probably the hardest back-to-back. Maybe Utah to Denver. I don't know. Either way, really tough back-to-back. While this might have, the lowest total, it is the tightest spread and projected to be the most competitive. So maybe we allow ourselves to be more receptive of that. If Joel Embiid is a go, sub 10K seems a little too soft for what we've seen him to average per minute without Ben Simmons since the beginning of last season. Definitely someone that can get you to 50-plus fantasy points quick, fast, and in a hurry. And we have seen some big games from centers against this Knicks front court to start the season, especially from a fantasy standpoint. If I sort this from actually, let me go to Team DVP. Again, this is very noisy, but in the first couple games, the Knicks have been very, very generous. Okay, maybe I didn't update this, but we've seen some strong games. I think Mo Bamba had a big game here. Embiid's matchup proof, so I'm very willing to sign up for some Embiid on the south side of 10K for 50+. I had him as one of the leaders in raw fantasy points projections, second to Luka. This is a big second to Luka, but in a more competitive game if he is able to go. I'm a buyer on that. And then we get some not normal, but maybe on this slate we take it pricing on guys like Tobias Harris, guys like Tyrese Maxey, and then Seth Curry. Very intriguing option for him. Throughout this couple games so far this season, he's averaging over 20 real points per game. Very, 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 very hot from behind the arc. I think I clicked the wrong Curry here. I think on the south side of 6K, if I can get to around 30 fantasy points, I'd be happy. I don't like to roster scoring dependent guys. You feel like he might be a little bit more scoring dependent than you want him to be, but on a shortened slate like this, I might value floor a little bit more just because of the volatility that we're dealing with game by game. 34, 36 minutes this last couple games. Like I said, the shot attempts, the shot volume should be there. So I'm a little bit interested in Curry, probably a tier 3 at best right now. No Danny Green for me. On the Knicks side, Julius Randle, the minutes, man, 9,500 for him. But the minutes are going to be massive. I got him at a soft 36 right now. Maybe the matchup's a little tougher if he matches up with Embiid a little more, and maybe the price is a little much up there. We're not used to getting to 9.5K ish to 10K for Randall, but he's definitely one of those guys that could sour some faders with a high 40s to 50 fantasy point performance. Raj, do you got anything else on the Knicks here? I want to say that there is room for upside on 5,400 on Mitchell Robinson. But it's not the matchup I would like. Obviously, we start playing with what could happen if Embiid is out. Mitchell Robinson could definitely get there. But at 5,400, I feel like, am I about to get Miles Turner here? Because Mitch is a block-chasing big, and sometimes blocks turn into fouls, and Embiid can draw fouls just about as good, if not better, than any other center in the league. And that has me a little bit spooked. What are you doing with these Knicks here? I know it feels easy to say, now I'm not that interested, but there's got to be something to be said about this being the most competitive game pre-flop, right?
Yeah, I think Julius Randle, who's been an absolute beast this year, averaging basically 60 fantasy points a game, DK points a game, even against Philadelphia. I think he'll see a lot of Tobias Harris defense too, not necessarily all the Embiid. So him at 9,500, I actually think, the way he's been playing, even if LeBron sits, I think everyone runs to AD. Mm-hmm. 80, 92, I might have more shares of Randall at 9,500 because the minutes are going to be there for sure. The usage is there. And I think this game will be competitive, and you'll see 35 to 40 minutes. So give me some Randall. Again, if you think this game, again, should be close, I think Derrick Rose is intriguing. In a 5-game slate, like you said, the floor you'll take it being a little lower, and the raw points I'll take. So Derrick Rose, if he's going to chuck 15, 16 shots like last game, I'm with it. If he plays 30 minutes here, 5,700, there's some upside. And other than that, I'm probably not going to get to Mitchell Robinson. I think it's a terrible matchup against Embiid. He is a foul-prone type of guy. Past the games, 5 and 6 personal fouls against Orlando. Embiid's going to cause him more problems than any bigs in Orlando with fouls. So it seems like a spot where he can definitely pick up some quick fouls. So I'll probably stay away from him. Probably not going to get get to any of the Fournier, Barrett, and these kind of peripheral pieces for them. And the Philadelphia side, if Embiid plays, I think he's intriguing at 9-8. Again, if he sees 35 to 40 minutes, he's going to smash. He's only seen upwards of 33 minutes this year, so maybe that's a little bit of worry if he ever sees 38, 39 with that sore knee. But if he does, I mean, it's going to be a 60, 65 bomb for him. You mentioned Seth Curry. I'm kind of on the same boat there. Scoring dependent guy. If he gets high, he'll get there. I think Maxi's intriguing at 6K. Seeing Derrick Rose defense should be able to, queue him up for quite a few points here. So give me some Maxi. And obviously, if Embiid's sit, you're going to play Tobias. You're probably going to lock in Tobias Harris at 8K. But even at 8K, if Embiid plays, he's been just kind of getting there in the 40, 38, and 30. So if you want some of him in 150 lineups, I don't hate it. But probably not a core piece. At 8K, he almost needs to have a ceiling type of game with Embiid playing.
Yeah, and then if you watch the Drummond news, if Drummond ends up being out, it looks like Gorgeous Ning was the primary beneficiary last game. He's 3,400 on DK. Would definitely be a points per dollar play. Feels kind of like Nick Claxton, where 20 minutes might be enough to fill a role on this slate. 20 minutes against OKC netted him 20 DKP. Didn't really get you those center peripherals, but he did get you double-digit real points, and we've seen that twice out of him in his first 3 games. So would be somebody to keep an eye on. But it sounds like Drummond wasn't that hindered, so keep an eye on that. And then, of course, if Embiid was out, Drummond a lock?
If Embiid is out, Drummond plays at his price. I mean, 5,200.
I think it has to be a lock. I think
you have to. Yeah,
this is a guy that I would have ran to pay like 8K for if I knew he was going to get 30 minutes as the off the chain starter. So he's the guy that's paying off 5,200 almost as is, 18 and 19 minutes. I would be right there.
I mean, would you lock in? Would you have the same amount of Tobias Harris and Drummond?
I feel like there's a little bit more volatility in that 1v1 just because Tobias is at 8K. If you agree that we'd weigh floor a little bit more than ceiling on a shorter slate, Drummond, he can't miss at 52 if you gave him 25 minutes. He just can't miss. He's a point per minute guy historically and likely gets you 40 plus there. With Embiid, even a 40 fantasy point performance at 8K wouldn't necessarily be enough to guarantee that he's an optimal play or the optimal play. Yeah. So I would lean more Drummond than Embiid. Yes, that easily more Drummond than Embiid, but I don't hate the idea of Tobias Harris. If we pull up the NBA Wowie tool, compliments of add more funds, you guys want to add this to your repertoire, check out the chat. There's a link in chat to get in on that. We'll go to the Philadelphia 76ers and just good. I'm
good. Laptop almost fell. We're good.
That you got shot through the window, bro. Anyway, let's just take Ben Simmons off for now, and then I guess the just in case Embiid is out news, but I think Embiid's probably closer to in anyway. He made me sweat that last slate because he was like, "Who's coming out to warm up? We'll have more news," and then there's 10 minutes to lock, and I'm sitting here ready to hit optimize. But just in case Embiid is out, we'll put Tobias on. We'll take Simmons and Embiid off. Just kind of show you guys an aesthetic of what you might expect. Looking back at last year, Tobias Harris sustained a team-high 31% usage rate in almost 440 minutes, 1.26 to 1.25 fantasy point per minute. So he'd be a fine play, but not something I would lock in. But Andre Drummond would easily be my favorite player, points per dollar. Let's get caught up on chat. Encore says, Raj at it again. If Embiid is out, I'm playing Robinson. Yeah, if Embiid is out, that would definitely open up the front court, at least from a defensive difficulty standpoint. Drummond's a lot softer than Embiid, and Mitchell Robinson could thrive a little bit more. And I don't want to put you guys off of Mitchell Robinson, even if Embiid was in. Obviously, 5,400 gives you a little bit of soft landing. It feels a little Miles Turner-ish, right? Like you can get in foul trouble and get in trouble real quick, and then you're stuck holding the bag with 17 fantasy points. But I'm a lot more skittish if Embiid is in for obvious reasons. But yeah, that's what we got here. Kemba Walker's a little too cheap, but I do think this guard rotation for the Knicks is a little bit saturated, a little too saturated for my liking. Between Walker, Fournier, Derrick Rose, Alec Burks, some minutes for Quickly. There's a lot of mouths to feed. And then in that front court, something to watch is Nerlens Noel. He could add to the volatility of Mitchell Robinson because he's been out for last couple of days. And I think we had a game with Gibson out as well. So there's a world where like Nerlens Noel, Taj Gibson, Mitchell Robinson, all these guys are available in that front court to trade out hacks on the Sixers. So would add to the risk of Mitchell Robinson for sure. And the Knicks, for a Tom Thibodeau team, the Knicks could be pretty deep rotation wise today. If you really look read between the tea leaves, so it would really just be Julius Randle and maybe some RJ Barrett, somebody I'm sleeping on a little bit. But yeah, let's get caught up on chat. Lorenzo says it's a Lou Dort night, Raj.
I'm actually not on Lou Dort tonight. I still got love for Lou Dort, Lorenzo. I do like at the OKC little game stack there, but Lou Dort might get left out. We're gonna have to wait and see.
Golden State Warriors at the Oklahoma City Thunder. Next game on the docket, project starting 5 for the Warriors. Steph Curry, Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, Kevin Looney taking on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Lou Dort, Josh Giddey, Darius Baisley, and Mike Muscala. Derek Favors listed as out. So a 224 total here, 9-point spread in favor of the visiting Golden State Warriors. First and foremost, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. If he didn't play over the weekend, you may have missed out on a game that perhaps we would have appreciated on the 22nd against the Houston Rockets at 6,700.
You wouldn't have lost that bet to me.
I definitely would not have, yeah. He curtain calls a 19 fantasy point game with 52 fantasy points, 29 real points, 6 rebounds, 8 assists against these the Philadelphia 76ers. This is what the expectation, I don't say we're not expecting 50, but the expectation is for him to be a really solid addition and contributor and lead this team in just about everything game to game. So I'm happy to see that out of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over the weekend. He's 7,100 on FanDuel, 8,100 on DraftKings. If you paint this game to be competitive, I feel like you got to look at SGA as the largest contributor real points wise. He's the only guy in the team averaging over 10 real points per game outside of Mike Muscala. So I don't know. Steph Curry is a beast, right? If this game blows out, Steph Curry could still have 30, 40 real points. But let's say this. If you play, I wouldn't say, I don't know. I wouldn't need SGA and Steph Curry lines, but would I need Steph Curry and SGA lines? Like, you know what that means? Like, it's the same thing, but if I wanted SGA to get there, likely means that Curry's doing his thing, but Curry can get there no matter what. What do you do with this game? Steph Curry's 11K. He's going to lead the entire slate in pricing. He's $100 above Luka Doncic, who's also in a lopsided double-digit point game. We have not seen Steph Curry offer less than 58 real points. Hasn't really been part of a complete blowout here. So I guess the first question, chat, chime in, is do you believe in a blowout? Blowouts are kind of hard to predict, or do you think, hey, as long as it stays within 15, everybody's going to get theirs? Is Steph Curry the guy to target? Is he the best stud to pay up for, or are you leaning towards one of the other guys? Assuming everyone's in, I guess the natural 1v1 is Curry versus Luka.
Yeah, I mean, and both in, I think, premier matchups against bad teams. But I do think Golden State's defense is mediocre at best and actually below average. So I actually love kind of this game stack of playing SGA, Josh Giddey. I think he's a guy who's going to have a big correlation to OKC when they're in games, competitive, have a chance to win. He's going to have a big game. When he has a poor game, they can get blown out very easily. I think he's probably their second best player on this team. So Giddey and Baisley, with Derek Favors out, I think Baisley's going to get some more minutes at center. They do have Roby and Muscala there, but those two guys should only see 15 minutes apiece tops, I think. So Baisley at 5K on DK, playing center against the Warriors, there's definitely some upside there. So if you want to play all those three guys, bring it back with some Steph Curry, who if all those three guys go off, Steph Curry could have a nuclear night. I'm with it. I mean, I think it's a great kind of game stack situation there, especially with the pricing on these OKC guys. Other than SGA, everyone's relatively cheap and mid tier. Other than Curry, though, I don't think I'm getting to any Golden State guys. Draymond Green is intriguing. He played 34 minutes the past 2 games. So if you see the uptick of, let's say, 36 minutes at 7,100, he could have one of those baby triple-double games, 12 points, 10 assists, 10 rebounds. So there's a chance there. But other than that, I mean, I'm not getting to any Wiggins or Poole in the spot.
See, I'm gonna say I disagree vehemently here, but I do think the Warriors are better offense than defense. Not to knock Wiggins and Draymond, but it wouldn't stun me if SGA was able to get off some real points here. I do feel like they don't really have a strong offensive player behind him to make me feel a little bit more confident. You mentioned Josh Giddey, good defender. Has offered a ton of stocks in his last outing. Yeah. 4 steals in the game prior, a block and a steal, but a little bit of do it all, rebounds, assists. So if he's going to facilitate, make a couple plays, sure, I'm with it. But I don't think they have the firepower to keep up with the Warriors like some of these other teams we've seen the Warriors play have. So I am a little less than excited to project ceiling games here for anyone other than SGA, right? The Lakers, the Clippers, the Kings even, they all have multiple scorers that you can see scoring 20-plus real points. It's hard to point past the SGA and feel confident in somebody else picking up some slack here. So I'm iffy. I'm on the fence with that.
No Derek Favors, Baisley, Roby, if you wanted value, I'm not getting it, but I'll probably just play Baisley. I think Baisley gets some extended minutes at center, which is always good for that double-double bonus, maybe a few extra blocks.
Yeah. On the Warrior side here, watch Iguodala. He did miss he missed the last game, right? Am I tripping? Let me pull that up. If Iguodala does miss again, it looks like we might lean on Otto Porter. He got 24 minutes in that last outing, and maybe some Nemanja Bjelica, but probably more Otto Porter here. So maybe keep that in your back pocket if we get a late Iguodala news. Otto Porter at 4,200 could be some value here if we can push his minute projection closer to 20 plus, right? Let me see if I can get an update on Iggy's status. You definitely feel like, a guy like him that's been a little banged up and a little elder statesman of the league, you wouldn't force his presence in games that seem a little bit more puntable. So Iguodala, he's listed as probable, so I guess I'm dreaming of an outcome to play Otto Porter. Iguodala, sore left hit, probable. Iggy initially injured his hip due to a hard fall. All right, so he's probable. What about Otto Porter? Even if everything lines up here, if we had this second half getting a little lopsided, would you? If I told you right now 22 minutes of Otto Porter was possible, would you get to any of it?
I mean, I don't think Otto Porter is going to see a lot of kind of blowout run. He's a guy that's been injury prone in his career. He's not exactly a young, he's not like his early 20s. So I don't. If $4,200 value, yes, but if the reason for it is you think you're going to get blowout run, I don't think he sees a lot of blowout run. If there's other guys that play over him blowout time.
Quinn Williams says, I agree that you can play Steph as a one-off, but SGA needs to be stacked with someone on a 5-game slate away correlation more than I would on a bigger slate. So you understood what I was saying, right? I don't need SGA to play Steph, but I feel like I need Steph to play SGA, right? So that's going to be almost impossible to set up. But yeah, okay. I'm glad.
You're Baisley.
I'm glad people understood what I was trying to say with that. Kickstart said I was looking for him first this morning. Notice Bjelica minutes have reduced. Wouldn't Giddey get garbage time run? That. Yeah, I think these these rookies, these guys that they just need some big league reps. Yeah, I don't think there's a reason to sit them down here. I see people had love for Lou Dort, Josh Giddey. I don't think it's crazy. I think this is a really, really cheap team past SGA. It's a 5-game slate. So even anyone that you could put a window between 25 and 35 at under 6K, Those dogs just might hunt. So I'm not going to push back. The other night I pushed back on Lou Dort, and I'm not super excited to get the Giddy, but the getting to the unknown before it's known in tournaments could be extremely, extremely viable.
Lou Dort's going to be out there guarding Steph, right? He might be there every minute that Steph's out there.
Put him in that torture chamber.
Yep.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he is. Which, if you believe in Lou Dort defense, maybe it keeps that game a little bit more competitive. And then Josh Giddey, he's looked all right, but so far, big stocks have been part of his floor and ceiling. But I think that's fine. I think this game will be faster paced, and there will be extra peripherals to go around. So I definitely don't mind Giddey. I think that front court gets a little bit more questionable. Like at 3,500, I put 22 minutes on Mike Muscala. Muscala's always been kind of close to a point per minute guy in his career. I wouldn't hate to a little dab of that. I don't have high expectations here. But Mike Muscala, Chat, and Raj, yay or nay? At 22-minute projection, what would you do with it?
At 22 minutes, I think he's going to give you like 15 to 20. At 3,500, I mean, I guess depending on how the studs do, maybe that could win you a tournament. Most likely not. I'm just probably not going to get to a lot of Muscala here. Again, I think Bazley's going to see a lot of center run, so I'll probably hang my hat on Bazley over Muscala.
Let me put. I don't even have Bazley listed here. Oh no, I got him at the 4. All right. Yeah, Bazley at 5K. I would buy into that. So Bazley. So would you what? SGA Bazley fire at Curry, and let the rest.
Yeah, I mean I like SGA, Giddey, Bazley, and then Steph Curry. And Poole, I guess, is an option, but not comfortable. Like he's like Seth Curry, right? He's got to score, 20, 25 real life points to probably get there for you.
All right, and the other guy that I'm a little bit curious with is Damian Lee. 20 plus minutes out of him, kind of the point guard of the second unit, right? When Steph's not out there, so depending on your game script here, and sometimes he plays alongside Steph. If you're looking for some of those sub 4K value plays to just kind of spray and pray in your lineups, maybe Damian Lee hits a few more shots today, gets a few more peripherals against this Thunder team. 3,800, could he get to 25? I don't think it's an unrealistic range of outcome. Let's move on to the next one. San Antonio Spurs hosting the Los Angeles Lakers. We've got a projected starting 5 for the Lakers: Russell Westbrook, Kent Bazemore, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, DeAndre Jordan taking on Dejounte Murray, Derek White, Doug McDermott, Dougie McBuckets, Keldon Johnson, and Jakob Poeltl. Am I not Poeltl enough for the Poeltl Club? A 223 total, 2.5 point spread in favor of the visiting LA Lakers. Obviously, the absence or possibility of the absence for LeBron James would shift not only this game, but perhaps the slate as well. We also know Trevor Ariza, Wayne Ellington, THT, Kendrick Nunn, all listed as out. Most of those guys have been out regardless. Wayne Ellington was I think the more intriguing name to watch because it looked like he was getting close, but he is out. So if LBJ is in, and we have this 3-headed big 3, it becomes a hard to predict situation. But on a 5-game slate, you can't write off the possibility of, I would say, 2 of the 3 being fine plays. If I had to lean towards one guy, I think for me, it's Anthony Davis. I think his minutes and his peripherals would be there. I like that he's forward center eligible, and he's gotten us 40-plus fantasy points in every game so far. In the first 2 games, 50-plus fantasy points. Missed a double-double by 2 rebounds that last game. That would definitely raise his output a little bit more. So AD would probably be my number 1 if I had to. But I would this is not a spot where I would argue any of them. Like, you like Westbrook to be the guy today, go and get you some Westbrook. You like LeBron, go for it. If LeBron is out, would you handcuff Westbrook and Davis and let it fly, or do you think that's kind of like the basic B approach and it's a trap?
Yeah, I think that's the basic thing that everyone's going to run to it. But at their price, I think Randall's still better than Davis, even with LeBron. And I think LeBron will sit just because of that kind of midday. I'm telling you, I mean, why not Randall over Davis?
because it's
At essentially the same price.
Well, like I said, that front court for the Knicks might get a little bit more cluttered because of Gibson and Nerlens Noel possibly. Secondly, like the Boston game for Hold on, let me see. Knicks scores. The Boston game was overtime, right? And then the Magic game Boston went to overtime. I don't know. I don't trust I easily go AD. If you're telling me LeBron's out.
Oh, yeah, that's the play everyone's going. I think that's the cap. But I'm saying in tournaments, if you want to pivot, and have some more exposure to Randall, I totally get that. And essentially the same price. Randall's been smashing this year.
I don't think Randall's smashing as much as you think he is. Like I like Randall. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But at 9,500, 160 bomb was extra innings, right? 48 against Orlando, and then 68 was massive, 38 minutes there. I'm worried about the minutes going down a little bit. Like I don't want to push back on the thought of Randall, but in a 1v1, I don't think I would ever project Randall pre-flop over AD without some wild card, right? A trip to the locker room or something like that. I don't think I think that's a perfect tournament thought is to go this way than the other way, because I would assume that the field would be way more on AD than the Randall side of things. But if LeBron's out, come on, bro. What are you expecting? The rest of you think Avery Bradley's going to pick up the LeBron?
Carmelo Anthony going to be vintage Carmelo again.
Maybe.
Last game. Yeah.
I think AD on DK 9,200 would be just way too easy to click, and then hopefully him and Westbrook would be a really solid handcuff. And this is one of those spots where you can really lock in on concentrated usage. I don't want to. How do I say that? You remember the Westbrook and Paul George, Westbrook, KD last year, the Harden, KD. Like sometimes the Kawhi, Paul George. Sometimes you can grab two players that are gonna combine for 60% usage, and not only scoring wise, but these are two players that will give you the peripherals. AD averaging 11 rebounds a game so far, almost 8 rebounds on Westbrook. The assists are there. Like this is an incredible spot to get over 100 fantasy points at $18,200 on DK. So if LeBron's out, like that's probably where a lot of my stuff starts. Is get Westbrook, get AD. Probably in 20 lineups, I can see myself having 80% of both with very little non-overlap, maybe 10% to 20% of the 80% of both, not having both. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, if LBJ is out, I could make a stronger case for Carmelo. I don't hate that. He's been a bucket so far this season, but it's easily Westbrook and AD for me. Looking at the Spurs side, we are getting some decent predictive value in terms of minutes projections for some of these guards here. Dejounte Murray and Derek White. Looking at Derek White a little bit more specifically, he was somebody that I liked against the Bucks the other night, and I was happy with the 38. He's gotten you 30 plus fantasy points in all 3 games so far this season, double-digit shot attempts. He's a guy that will chuck threes, but the assists have been there. 8 assists in his last 2 games, and the defensive peripherals there as well. And we love those defensive stats, especially on Fanduel. And Dejounte Murray is another guy that can get there with peripherals as well. He doesn't need but 10 to 15 real points to be a solid play. So this game feels game stackable. If LBJ is out, you can give me Murray, you can give me White. You can make the cases for Jakob Poeltl per minute at 5,600. You put him that price point. That's going to line up with what? Like a Mitchell Robinson. I definitely lean towards Jakob Poeltl in this spot. McDermott and Keldon Johnson, I'm a little bit more iffy. I think Keldon Johnson, he's playable just because there's a world where he plays super deep minutes. We've seen some very, very high minute games out of him, 37 against Denver. I'm more likely to prioritize Murray and Derek White 1 and 2, and then I have Jakob Poeltl is my third kind of target from that, and then it would be rotating what's left. There's also a world where Lonnie Walker at 4,200 pays off that price point. His usage while he's on the court has been pretty high. 223 total, very tight spread here. Is this the best game stack on the slate?
I mean, yeah. If LeBron sits, I think the game stack just kind of plays itself. I think my favorite play on San Antonio to bring it back with after playing Westbrook and Davis would probably be Derek White. I want to say DeJounte Murray, but Derek White just seems to be getting, more of the assists right now. I'm just a couple more assists at his price point too, a little bit cheaper. They kind of have similar roles, it seems like. So Derek White, I like. DeJounte Murray, I like. Poto is intriguing. He's going to have to be there to match with the Lakers' size. So it should see maybe upwards of 38 minutes.
No,
obviously with Pop, you never know.
38
Yeah,
is ridiculous. Stop it.
35, I guess 35, which is fine. So if you want to give a center spot to him at 5,600, I think there's some possible upside there. But other than that, I mean, I'm just not like McDermott. I get, if he gets hot, but it's not someone I'm going to rely on. He had a hot shooting game last game against Milwaukee, but in Denver and Orlando, it was your typical McDermott night.
That's Doug McDermott basketball. Yeah. He makes sense against Bucks or a team we target, shooters against.
Yeah. I mean, Lonnie Walker, if you wanted some value, 4,200, again, another kind of scoring dependent guy against the Lakers team who, without LeBron, I mean, whether a defense gets better or not, I guess we'll see. But Lonnie Walker at 4,200, I could see if you think this game shoots out a little bit. Definitely get in there for you.
Yeah, what up, Pete Dobush? Pete, I ain't seen you around in a hot minute, man. Welcome back. Good to see you. He made it happen. First of all, Pete with the hot take. Good afternoon, Gun and Raj. I'm calling you Yahoo triple-double. Woo!
Hey,
coming in hot.
Yahoo.
I don't do
triple
the most,
but
strong. I do a lot.
I ain't about that life. Quick mention of Devin Vassell, $3,300. I mean, he might end up being a trendy value guy.
Maybe.
At 3,300.
Jay Steno says Lakers front court's goated. Going to be hard to triple-double to come. Yeah, that's a take. That's a take.
Especially with DeJounte Murray, I think. I mean, the most guys like the triple-double in San Antonio. I would say Murray.
I would agree with that. So give me Murray, give me White. Fire that. If we got LeBron out, and sometimes a midday questionable. I do tend to lean closer to out than in. Westbrook AD fired off versus Murray White. You could even throw Pirtle in there. Definitely like getting to some game stacks tonight, smaller slates, and I might even be able to get the X out that Utah game because that feels like death. Let's move on to the next game here. What up, Logan? Dallas Mavericks hosting the Houston Rockets. Project starting 5 for the Rockets. Kevin Porter Jr., Jalen Green, Jayshawn Tate, Christian Wood, and Daniel Tice taking on Luka Doncic, Tim Hardaway Jr., Dorian Finney-Smith, Kristaps Porzingis, and Dwight Powell. We got a 2-2-2 and another 1-2 as our total. And a 10.5 point spread favor the home team, Dallas Mavericks. So this is one of the inner monologue thoughts of... Is this a blowout? Because Vegas is putting a double-digit spread on it. The Rockets, we feel like they have more talent to stay up offensively. Christian Wood, Kevin Porter, and Jalen Green said, hey, guys, I'm here. I don't know if you caught it over the weekend, Raj, but he decided to pull up from hell no range, as my boy Dion used to say. 30 real points, 11 of 18, 8 from 10 from behind the arc. So have they discovered... Hey, we could be a little bit more competitive if we let Jalen take some of these long range shots, and then the Dallas Mavericks are they maybe not as good as the public perception? So I guess first of all, is this a laugher, or do you think this is close enough to get you 135 plus minutes of Luka Doncic on the court? And is this stackable to you? High total, should expect a lot of scoring, and the Rockets, even if if we keep them on the court, the Rockets do have a pretty decent predictive value in usage, right? KPJ, Christian Wood, Jalen Green would be my 3 shortlist targets. What's your
Jayshawn Tate? Surprisingly, Jayshawn Tate is surprisingly done really well for Houston too. My take on this, I mean, if I play Luka and I think he's going to see 35, 36 minutes, probably going to bring him back again, like you mentioned, Porter, Christian Wood, Jalen Green, and even Tate. It's one of those things I think similar to the Golden State OKC game. You play the stud Luka, you want to play some of these Houston guys who I think are fairly priced. Again, Dallas is a team that defensively isn't that good, so I can see Jalen Green having another big game. This could be Kevin Porter's game after Jalen Green had a big game. He can go back and get you 50, fantasy points like he does. So on the Houston side, I mean, give me all those guys: Porter, Jalen Green, Tate, Christian Wood. Christian Wood at 8-4 is a bit of a tough quick at center, but
is he?
Again, this game's going to stay.
Is he?
I've never been the biggest Christian Wood guy.
That's not what I heard. Okay.
Yeah, jokes. But I would probably get somewhere else at that price point. And on the Dallas side, I think Porzingis is trending right now to be the highest owned guy on FanDuel, one of the highest owned at 40% because of his pricing. Coming off of a big game against Toronto, 44 DK points, 18 points, 10 rebounds, 4 blocks. Those blocks will definitely win you something on FanDuel. So Porzingis against Houston, yes, it's matchup. He's only played 29 minutes. That's a little worry. I wanted to see 35 minutes. So I think the minutes restriction is still a little there. But other than that, other than Porzingis and Luka, I don't see myself getting any of the other Dallas guys.
Yeah, Christian Wood so far. Actually, let me bring it to this season. I hate to with such a small sample size, I hate to overreact or over rely on a certain couple of stats because they're gonna normalize as we go through. But looking at the Rockets team so far this season, pulling up the current roster, focusing on the main guys. Christian Wood's the only guy with minutes averaging over a fantasy point per minute, almost 1.3 on both sites. Jayshawn Tate, 15% usage rate. Kevin Porter, 29% usage rate. So KPJ would be probably the guy that you expect to be that guy, and that's the guy that we targeted last year. Is KPJ still small forward eligible on FanDuel? He is. So that's the rare small forward point guard eligible player. So maybe he makes a little bit, and he's 5,900 on FanDuel. So maybe he makes a lot more lineups for me on FanDuel as a small forward eligible player. So yeah, I'm with that. Kristaps Porzingis, you mentioned 7K on FanDuel. I think his defensive peripherals mean a little bit more for their scoring, the blocks being worth 3 fantasy points per. I would want 40 plus fantasy points, feel like I'm getting a good deal. I guess power forward feels perhaps the most shallow so far unless we are able to unlock Anthony Davis with some LeBron news. But 40 plus against the Toronto Raptors, he did offer 4 blocks and 1 steal. So exactly what I'm saying, man. This guy is a block machine. So if we do get him some run, I do worry about how cluttered the Mavericks front court can be and how unpredictable Jason Kidd can be. Willie Cauley-Stein's there. They still got Moses Brown, who hasn't been part of the scene, but Maxi Kleber's in the mix, and even Polbon's on the bench. So I just know one day Kidd is going to troll me with that front court. But for the most part, I don't disagree with much of what you said. And then I would say, how about some Tim Hardaway at 5K on FanDuel? That seems a little soft, and we've seen him kind of take over some games in terms of scoring. I know it's a short season, but in that Atlanta game, he had 25 real points, maybe more scoring dependent than you would want him to be. But in a 5-game slate, the fact that he could take over scoring like that, especially going against a softer defense like the Houston Rockets, get you double-digit shot attempts, that might be enough for me to introduce him to my player pool. A much, much harder click at 6,700 on DK, but a $1,700 discrepancy between the two sites, 5K on FanDuel, probably somebody I'd be more willing to play because of that price point. Let's get caught up on chat. Quinn says, big downgrade from Rick Carla to Jason Kidd. Man, it's weird. Jason Kidd's one of my favorite players of all time, but coaching-wise, he's definitely had some noggin scratchers. I loved when he coached the Nets, man. Oh, those good times.
The accidental spoken.
Is us just tuning in, Gun? Any locks or tournament plays? So far I don't have like the super lock just yet. Let me revisit that thought. I do think this slate's very, very if this then that, and the 2 pieces of news you have to watch are Joel Embiid, LeBron James. If one or both of those guys out, the whole slate gets flipped on top of its head, and then our construction is a little bit different, right? So yeah, you hear that, Raj? That is the PrizePicks train.
Talk about it.
Guys, we are loving some PrizePicks.
An extra chew.
We are loving some PrizePicks around here. If you guys were part of the voice chat yesterday after lock, man, sweating some of those props and then getting them come through, man, it was a lot of fun. And I talked about it yesterday, man. When I enter my contest on DraftKings and FanDuel, I'm looking around. I'm seeing who's in there. I'm seeing if I recognize some of the genius best players in the DFS spectrum, it's a little bit stressing, right? You're like, oh man, I gotta go against this guy. He's gonna have 150 bullets, and there's this guy. PrizePicks, you don't deal with that. PrizePicks, you just do the research. You go and just bet against the prop, the projection on a player. They have real points, assists, rebounds, free throws made, fantasy points, first half, second halves, not just for NBA, for every sport, including CSGO. Shout out to Jake. It is a way to simplify DFS while you are still doing the same. So like if you're a Fanduel player, you're researching guys who could hit value at their price point on Fanduel, or guys that could do well or not do well. PrizePicks uses the same fantasy scoring as Fanduel, so you can kind of get two bits of research done at the same time and make yourself a card over there. If you sign up using code GUNDACKER, they will double your first deposit up to $100, and they also it helps me out as well. So if you're looking for a way to also show some support for the stream, for the channel, sign up using code GUNDACKER and have some fun. If you are a member of the RunDFS.com VIP community, I have a player props tab in the spreadsheet, including the PrizePicks fantasy point projection that I have off of my algorithm, and a lot of guys in the Discord like to shop the PrizePicks board, look at my projection sheet, and kind of come away pick some plays. And so far, so very good and very, very fun. So go check it out, prizepicks.com. If we take a look at the board today for PrizePicks, there's a couple of interesting real point guys. They have Julius Randle at 22.5 real points. They have Steph Curry at 32.5 real points. And then I think Luka was something to watch for. They actually dropped a promo for today. And if you submit a card, let me pull it up via their Discord just so I don't misquote it. What was that?
Ringtone.
I swear I'm in the PrizePicks. There it is. PrizePicks Discord. I had to look 800 times. Also, they have a Discord, so if you guys are in a bunch of Discords already, add them to it. There's some guys in there chopping it up. But the promo is pick a 2-pick power play. It would get boosted to a 4x payout instead of 3x, I think. You must use Luka and Steph as your 2 players. Entry must be placed today. Can be first half, second half, full game. Can be any projection. And boost will be paid out as promo funds tomorrow. $100 max boost. So they do fun promotions like that to give you a little extra bang for your buck. So if you guys had some tells on Luka and Steph Curry, tonight would be a good night to get a little bit extra ROI based on your tells there. So they have Steph Curry projected at 52 Fanduel points, and Luka, if we control F Luka, he's at 52 as well. So Rods, Fanduel scoring, Luka and Steph, over under 52, one or the other.
Man, I'm going over. I'm going over for Steph, under for Luka.
Under 52 for Luka. All right. So my personal projections, if I pull up my player props tab for Steph and Luka, I have Luka at 62 Fanduel points, and I have Steph Curry at 52, right on the nose. So almost disagrees with what you said. Steph Curry.
You have Luka at 62?
Yeah, I do.
Oh wow, okay.
I might normalize that a little bit, but I got him at 37 minutes, man. That's like if he gets to those minutes. If it does blow out, he's probably not going to play 37 minutes. But looking at his first couple games, 35, 39, so 37 is right smack dab in the middle. Yeah. Houston Rockets, man. Some turnovers to be had. Some potential triple-double to be had. So, anyway, chat, sign up. Go Gundacker. We'll have some fun with it, right? Are you going to be with the field on Porzingis on FanDuel at 40% or fading? Great question, G. Yali. If you're looking at the power forward spot, I think he's fine, right? At 7K, I need the 40 plus. I also don't think that 40% holds up if we get LeBron out or if we get Joel Embiid out, because you could sell me on Tobias Harris. Christian Wood's a guy that can drop 50 plus. Julius Randle's intriguing as well. 9,700. I need the 50 plus at this point to feel like it's a bargain. But I don't feel like I would prioritize Porzingis more than the next man, right? So at 40% own, I probably wouldn't be with 40%. But I also don't know that holds up if we get some LeBron news and some AD news, because even if LeBron's out, Carmelo Anthony is power forward eligible on Fanduel, and he's a guy that can maybe get you a quick 5 to 6.5x on his price point. So a couple of ways to zig when others are zagging. Normally on any given slate, if you told me a player, especially that of Kristaps Porzingis, whose boom bust is really volatile, meaning like, yeah, he can get there, but he also busts quite a bit at this price point. 40%, I would normally try to just go the other way. So
I think I would fade it. I think Porzingis had that ownership, just strict ownership on a 5-game slate. I think fading that is perfectly fine, especially with the pivots.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the way I'm politically saying I would be on the other side of the 40%. But I also don't think it holds up. What up, Van Dam NYC? What about Dwight Powell gun? Man, he was not on my short list, but he is pretty cheap on DraftKings. I only put him at 23 minutes, about a point per minute there. If you would be happy with the low end, right? Like with like a 20 fantasy point, like knowing that that's the more median range of outcome. If that's okay with you, and it's on this slate, that's not necessarily not okay. I wouldn't talk you off that ledge. Not something I would get super excited about. I typically want more than 6x for my cheap guys. I'm looking for 8x guys that can pop off. And that's kind of one of the more common misconceptions in DFS is people stamp that 6x, right? Like they're happy with 18, 20 from 3K. But really the 3K players, you need that Luke Kennard game, right? You need that Cam Reddish, guys like that. Those are the guys that have to do a lot more heavy lifting. But if you think on a 5-game slate that looks, maybe projects a little bit more low scoring than most slates, that 20 will hunt in one spot, go for it. I wouldn't talk you off of it, but there's too much volatility in that front court for the Mavericks for me to really hang my hat on that, right? Jack Phillips, Monte Morrison, okay value play because there really isn't an inch of value on the slate. Maybe, Jack. We're going to talk about that now. If we do that, we'll take a pause for the cause, do one more plug, and then one more. Let's do what do they call it in the Twitch? Let's do a like sweep, a like wave, man. You guys want to help me out, man? Get those likes up. We got 35 on 110 viewers.
Get them up.
Can we get
Let's get them up to 75? 75 likes, chat. 75 likes. Man, and you gotta do something. 75 likes.
I tried. So yesterday we only got 92 likes, and I was trying to spoil myself, man. I was trying to buy myself a monitor. Only 92 likes. So I didn't buy a monitor yet, but one of these videos we're gonna get 100 likes. But yeah, help me out, chat. So it's free. Hit that thumbs up. Hit that subscription button. Absolutely free. And then of course, what's not free is a premium subscription at RunDFS.com. If you guys want to unlock the spreadsheets, my player pools, my projections, my premium Discord community, man, go to RunDFS.com. Get yourself signed up. Once you get into the VIP membership tab, you can look around, a couple screenshots. I do a bad job at updating these screenshots, but there's a couple ones that really matter. Always be placing not one, but 2 millionaire makers. That's just ridiculous, insane. Celia's there. Shout out to Celia. I got a few there. My boy Shady hit for 20K 4 weeks ago in soccer. I don't even watch soccer. And then a couple of testimonials. Chat, I also need to update these. So if you guys do well and you feel like I might have had a hand in it, shout me out on Twitter. We'll get you up on this little wall of fame. But go to RunDFS.com, get you signed up for a membership, and then once you do get into a membership, click VIP portal. There's going to be some links to spreadsheets and links to the Discord, and yeah, that's the plugs, right? What do you guys think about Hassan Whiteside tonight? He's cheap, and he can get a ton of fantasy points in 15. Yeah, we'll go with that. 100. Dang Lazy Mofo says 100 likes and Raj takes off tomorrow. Hey Raj, don't tell him.
All right.
I'm with that.
Right, 100 likes.
100 likes and Raj is not on the stream tomorrow.
Yo, Izzo 999, 100 likes. Raj takes off his tank top and flexes on camera. I mean, that's a different type of show. That's a different type of YouTube show, Izzo.
I feel like this is not the demographic for that, Izzo. Hold up.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, we might need to increase our female viewership. I mean, if you want to, we might have to put on a little show. Get my magic mic on.
I don't know. Females don't play DFS, bro. It's impossible. Alan Lazarus out with COVID, so him and Devontae Adams. Ooh. Randall Cobb. Denver Nuggets at the Utah Jazz. Final game tonight. So, good night to maybe practice some late swap, right? If you guys have some dead lineups at 8:30, there's a game an hour and a half later. If you had some spots that maybe had riskier plays from this game, you can get a little bit more creative. But anyway, Nuggets at the Jazz. Nuggets, night 2 of a back-to-back last night. Pretty much got stunned by the Cleveland Cavaliers. Now it's one of the toughest back-to-backs in all of sports. Denver to Utah, and it's a 218.5 total. Your home team, Utah Jazz, favored by 7. Project starting 5 for the Denver Nuggets: Monte Morris, Will Barton, Michael Porter Jr., Aaron Gordon, and Nikola Jokic. Taking on Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell, Bojan Bogdanovic, Royce O'Neal, and Rudy Gobert. So just going off of projections alone, and moving past the emotional humanistic narratives here about how tough and how yucky of a game this is, Jokic at 10.6K. I got him projected for 50 plus fantasy points at 35 minutes, and then I have a high number on Michael Porter Jr., who was kind of a letdown yesterday. But we know that he's going to be one of those volatile players, right? Some nights he's going to go out there and drop 20. Some nights he's going to drop 30. His wide range of outcomes is pretty much depicted in his first 3 games: 34, 10, 26, and he even has room for 40 plus. So I've set my algorithm for projections to be a little bit more aggressive this year, because the ceiling is more important than the median for me on NBA. And that algorithm does like Porter a little bit when you consider the game environment. Will Barton, also under 6K on both sides, has a decent projection, about 30 fantasy points. And then on the Utah Jazz side, not anything that I need to drive home. I don't think I have one guy other than like Mike Conley projected to be an incredible play. Jordan Ingles looks okay off the bench here. Jordan Clarkson looks okay off the bench here. Joe Ingles got ejected, I think like something like 6 minutes in on that last game. You expect him to pick up some more minutes, and maybe that might fluctuate some usage and some minutes that we saw as a product of that last game. Raj, this is the game that really doesn't excite me much, but I feel like you're going to have a couple pieces here and there to maybe cheer on, get that late night hammer exposure. If you had to grab 2 players from this game, either side, who are they?
I mean, I'm never fitting Jokic on any slate. I don't care about the matchup. It's back-to-back. I just don't care. It's Nikola Jokic. The guy could be the highest scorer of the slate in any slate. He's just unstoppable, even if Rudy Gobert. So I'm not fitting Jokic. I'll have a piece of him. This Denver team just looked terrible so far this year. Jokic's the only guy that showed up every game. I mean, it would be, DFS if Michael Porter Jr. had a bounce back after 2 done-of games. Kind of let the world down yesterday. In a tougher matchup, him at 6'2", does he finally, shoot the ball well and give you 25 real-life points like he should be doing with no Jamal Murray? I think if the ownership stays, I don't mind taking a shot at Jokic and Porter together here. And really, if them keeping this game competitive and close.
Yeah, I'm going to pull up Jokic against Defensive Player of the Millennium, Rudy Gobert, and kind of see what his numbers are. Last 3 games, 57, 77, 72. And we are talking May of this year, January of this year, twice, and very, very high minutes. We're talking 35, 37, 40. I don't know.
Murray might have played in a couple of
those. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, he obviously offers a skill set that can drag Rudy Gobert away from the paint. That's really where Rudy Gobert is just like super elite as a rim protector. You drag him out, you have to make him move lateral a little bit more. Yeah, you can get around it. And then Jokic gets there not just on scoring, but rebounds and assists, and can triple-double. Yesterday, I'll tell you what, man, if you guys were sweating live on Jokic, his first run was not pretty. He had like 13 or something in that first run, and I was kind of joking about it in the voice chat because I think it was Chronic. I think Chronic had his hot take on yesterday's stream. I want to say he said J-Val outscores Jokic. I was like, okay. And they were joking about it. He's like, that was my hot take. I told you. And then next, at halftime, Jokic says like 35. I was like, what was that hot take? No, it still got there, but Jokic can turn it on in the snap of a finger. And even in an L last night, when his team didn't get to 90 real points, he was huge for fantasy. 19 rebounds, 24 real points. And the assists were down, just 3 assists there, a couple steals there. So yeah, he is kind of a do-it-all player, and definitely anytime you can get the opportunity at his type of production, his type of points, his type of ceiling, low owned, even in a death spot here, I get it. I would have some of that. I'm not that excited, but I would have some of that. And then you were. It sounded like I cut you off. You were about to get to the Jazz side. Any warm and fuzzies over there?
I mean, if I'm going to play Jokic, if I'm going to play some Michael Porter Jr., I think taking a shot on a guy like Donovan Mitchell, who will have no ownership at 8,700, 50, 55 point upside here, I'll take a shot at him. Other than that, I'm probably not going to take anybody else. Any value? I mean, Royce O'Neal is a guy that just plays minutes. So if you really want some value, not a pretty click, if you want to take a shot there, I guess I don't hate it. But no, I mean, no one on the Utah side would be anything more than a tier 3. Like Mitchell, I'd probably have no more than 10, 15% tops.
Yeah. There's not a ton of value that makes you feel great tonight. But if we did get some of those news bits out there, maybe some stuff opens up. Mike Conley, 31 minutes against Sacramento, about a point per minute. This is kind of Mike Conley basketball. I think a couple of those 5-6K guys, we probably just play for a spot on 30 fantasy point returns. That could be something. I saw somebody in chat mention Monte Morris at 4K on FanDuel, 4,400 on DK. I threw him in some lineups last night. Same line of thinking, man. He just might be enough if he did get to the mid-20s. Facundo Campazzo, PJ Dozier, guys like that. Not warm and fuzzies, but yeah, you might have to get a little bit different, a little bit weird with it. But generally speaking, I'm not excited about any team against the Jazz in Utah, especially back-to-back this early in the season. So that is our 5-game slate. Chat, you got any lasting questions, comments, concerns? Let's get it. Give me those hot takes, chat. Very, very condensed slate tomorrow, a little bit bigger, and we will of course be here at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, chopping it up again. So if you guys are lurking for the first time, be advised, I do stream every weekday at 3 p.m. Eastern, going through game by games here. So if you are lurking and you're not subscribed, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. It's completely free. I have a personal goal of 6,000 subscribers by January 1st. I did some math this morning. If I sustain what I did this past week in terms of new subscribers the past 2 weeks, I would come up like 30 subscribers short. So I'm hoping to overperform one of these days. Yeah. So hit that sub button, man. If you're not, man, help me out. I'm a good guy, right? I'm a mushroom. I'm a fun guy. Shout out to Kawhi. Catching up on chat though. Chat, fire away anything you got. What are your top pay up options, says Jack. So if everything stands like Embiid in, LeBron in, Luka is the guy that's breaking my projection model right now, so he has to be the guy for me. A little bit of home cooking for him here in Dallas, going against a soft Rockets team. So he's probably my favorite guy. We put him on the cover for a reason. I got him over 60 fantasy points right now. That might come down once I start sweeping through, tightening some screws here, but I like him quite a bit as my top guy. Obviously, if LeBron is out, I'm fine with handcuffing Westbrook and AD. If Embiid was out, Drummond would be probably a lock button if he was in. If both those guys are out, you might get some weird lineups where Tobias Harris, Gorgeous Shane, guys like that have to stretch out a little bit more than they would like, and then that game gets a little bit more lopsided, low scoring. But if everybody's in right now, it would be Luka Doncic 1. Raj, how crazy you got to be to play LeBron James today? And here's a thought. If LeBron James is what? He's small forward, power forward, and Anthony Davis is power forward, center. If you were drawing dead at I don't know, if you felt like you were behind the 8 ball after the first couple of games in an Anthony Davis lineup, would you swap him in that power forward spot to LeBron James, $200 more, knowing that probably not going to garner a lot of ownership as a midday questionable?
Easy. I think LeBron James is the best player on the Lakers almost every game, just because he's going to dictate and control, what happens with the Lakers. So if that's the case, he gets ruled in, then LeBron did great tournament play, 9,400 against San Antonio. I think he's a walking guaranteed 50 bomb with 60 bomb there.
Yeah.
I do think he sits. I am leaning towards sitting, so yeah, I'll make lineups with Westbrook and Davis together.
usually those midday cues are something to watch
Yeah.
for.
And it's the first time of a back-to-back for the Lakers. So if that ankle is sore, why not rest him today and he'll play tomorrow?
Izzo, would you consider Dejounte Murray over White for tournaments? Yeah, I like them both, so I wouldn't mind having one or the other. Desmond Morris, Gundy, you like Jordan Poole against the Oklahoma City Thunder? I'm not in love with them at this price point, right? I need that 30-plus fantasy.
He's just kind of there.
Yeah. I don't hate him. Like, double-digit shot attempts are probably expected. Probably a little bit more scoring dependent than you would want him to be, but, like, he's fine. He would be in the pool, right?
Seth Curry.
Yeah,
him, Seth Curry, Tim Hardaway Jr. Kind of like that are a little annoying. They have to chuck and really hit their shots. I guess Jalen Green's kind of in that category too now, similarly priced to those guys.
Yeah, those would be tier 3 guys for me. You guys know how I like to tier out my slate pre-flop. Those type of shooting guards would be in the tier 3 for me, meaning, yeah, they're going to make the player pool, but because of their volatility, not going to be something I drive home and hang my hat on as a core play. So definitely don't mind them. Izzo says, one tournament lineup on Fanduel. Who's your first couple clicks, and who would you consider for value? So on Fanduel, if everything is as now, right, with everyone in, it's probably Luka. I mentioned Tim Hardaway felt a little too cheap at 5K. So maybe that's a nice little correlation there, Luka and Tim Hardaway. And then why not run it back with the highest usage guy from the other team, Kevin Porter. If you really wanted to dive headfirst into that game stack, you could throw Christian Wood in the mix as well. He's 8,400. If you did that, that would give you 5K per. At that center spot, I don't think I'm going to prioritize the high end unless Embiid was in. If Embiid was in, he's like the most obvious 60 bomb on the slate, but there's a little bit of value in the mid tier. If Embiid was out, Drummond would be one of my favorite points for dollar plays. Jakob Poeltl at almost 7K doesn't feel like I'm getting a huge bargain there. It gets really, really ugly down here. Mike Muscala is somebody I might punt as a shot for 30 fantasy points. But looking at my projections for potential value on FanDuel to kind of glue some of these pieces together. Let me sort that. Got to get that. I do like Derek White and Dejounte. Damian Lee was somebody that's looking okay for me. Maybe I'm a little too aggressive on his projection. I might have to meditate on that. Kenrich Williams looks like he could benefit in the absence of Derek Favors. If you've followed his fantasy career going back to like New Orleans, he's extremely volatile. But would probably be in a player pool just as some of those dart throws, spin the wheel, make a deal, spray and pray kind of guys. I definitely feel like my projection is way too aggressive on him. I have to throttle that down a little bit. Anybody else up here that I feel like I have to get to for FanDuel? No. Man, there really isn't like a lot of 4K guys making me feel good.
Yeah, it's a tough value slate today for sure. You might just have to take these shots on these kind of 5K guys and hope they just get you, like you said, 30, 35.
Yeah. Hot take, Dort and Giddey for combined 70 to 75. I
like Giddey and Dort. We'll see the minutes. I don't hate the call.
Man, one of these days, like saying being anti-Dort's gonna like get me, but I just don't understand the Dort love. I really don't. I feel like we've pulled this up on stream before, but Lou Dort, DKP by game log. Let's go game log with Shea Gilgeous Alexander. Let's go last 15 games. I feel like people are remembering a stretch where there was no SGA and it was literally like a G League team. In his last 15 games playing alongside SGA, he's exceeded 30 fantasy points once, and that was against the San Antonio Spurs. He had 4 steals and a block. He's not that guy, pal, in my humble opinion. Now, we changed that last 15 to without SGA, and you're seeing a little bit more 30 pluses, but this stretch right here, 34, 31, 41, 40, 60, like this is what people are remembering about his potential upside, and the correlation is that SGA didn't play and they didn't have point guards. They had like Theo Maledon and SGA out, Theo Maledon, Lou Dort, guys like that, and Lou Dort was playing, 37 minutes, 42 real points. Like, that's just not likely to happen anymore. So I don't want to poo-poo on the Lou Dort love, but I at least want to put an aesthetic to why I feel that way. He's just not that guy with SGA. No, with that said, prepare for the 50 bomb from Lou Dort today.
Talk about it.
Dort will get so many steals. I mean, if Dort has a stealing game, it's going to be with SGA.
Steph Curry has 6-7 turnovers.
Yeah, it's going to be a steal game for sure. I don't. Yeah, but it's hard to play players and bank on steals, right? Like that's tough. Warriors will turn the ball over so much. Just wait for Dort to drop 35. I have a weird feeling. Yeah, I mean, it's still possible, right? Like, I don't want to, again, if you're on Dort, don't let Lou or me turn you off of him. My projection has him knocking on the door of 30 on both sides. So, like, that's fine. We got to take some value strides. But I think people are remembering his slate breaking games and not really putting some context with what was going well for him. Yo, Alex Kaiser, appreciate that sub, buddy. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully you stick around. Anything else, chat? Anything? Any other hot takes? You guys know twitter.com/gundecker. That's where you can find me if you guys got any questions, comments, concerns. DMs always open. Scrolling through, make sure I didn't miss anything. Great filibuster says Bones Highland would be the number one value play of the night. He definitely has the number one name on the slate. Offensive username MPJ due for 40 plus fantasy points real soon. Yeah, I don't mind that take. I do think he's like I said, he's volatile game to game, but he does have a ceiling that's worth chasing here and there and could be lucrative in spots where people aren't on him, and perhaps following a night where he was pretty well owned. It doesn't make sense for him to follow up on a back-to-back going into Utah, blah, blah, blah. But maybe sometimes when it doesn't make sense, that's when you hop on and take advantage of some lower ownership. Anything else? I think that's it, right? Yep. Power forward is weak spot if you're not paying up in the 7K and up range. Yeah, it definitely is not full of value yet. If like I said, if LeBron's out, you might make a case for Carmelo Anthony on Fanduel, right? Deshaun Thompson, what's up, Deshaun? I'm doing a single entry. Do you think it's smart to do a Luka or AD lineup without another big spend up? That's kind of a one-sided coin, right? Like, those two players are fine. It would be the rest of the lineup to like, do you feel comfortable with everyone else in it, right? If Luka and AD hit 50, 60 fantasy points at 40+% owned, doesn't really do much for you in terms of lineup success. It's really those mid-tier guys. So if you're asking, is it okay to only have those two as your spend ups? Yeah, that's perfectly fine. That wouldn't really separate you from the field much, especially if LBJ was out, right? Yeah, what up, Josh? Who do you love from the late game? I don't love anybody from that late game.
That games are right off of a game. If you want Jokic, though, again, if Jokic is the highest scorer to slate, no one would be shocked.
Yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. Everyone from that game, like, I might set a rule to where I don't have more than two players from that game. Yeah. But I don't love anybody from that game. I'll have some exposure to it, but definitely not something I love. Josh, hear me out. Is it scripted for Lakers to win it all? No Kyrie, and now Harden is struggling with the rule change. The Lakers, the Lakers. I mean, if it was
scripted, they would have got better players than.
If it was scripted, the Lakers would have more than one win, right?
Yeah.
No. Stop. That's conspiracy theory 101. Lakers are not looking that good, Josh. I hope, like, I'm jumping on the Westbrook bandwagon, but
I've been watching them play. They just haven't looked good at all. I mean, Westbrook, it's just the fit isn't there. Westbrook's still a great player, but the fit just isn't there. So I wouldn't be shocked if I see a midseason trade with him.
Stop it. Get some help. I don't know. Right now, after 3 games of action,
I don't know. We got to see what happens after 30 games and see where the record stands and see what's happening and go from there. Chronic wants bold calls. Give him a bold call today.
The Chicago Bulls and Timberwolves are the finals.
Yeah.
They're on a collision course for the NBA Finals right now. Jack says I got Kevin Porter scoring 55 tonight. Let's go, Jack. Lakers second best championship odds. Yeah, I think they remember, odds are set to get suckers to bet it.
Yeah, I think the Bucks are first right now.
That would
Even
make
over
sense. A healthy Bucks.
yeah.
Bold call. You got a hot fire take there, Rods.
On a 5-gamer, a hot fire take.
I think your hottest take from the stream was Randall over AD if LeBron was out.
You know what, yeah, let's do that. Randall outscores AD if LeBron's out. Even though I'll play a lot of AD and Westbrook, I just see a world.
You wouldn't have any Randall. What this guy? No,
man, I think that's fair.
I'm bad at hot takes because I rely so much on stats and logic. I'm so bad at hot takes.
How boring. Yeah. Give me Mike Conley goes for 40. You say that 40 DK.
Nets are plus 220. They're still first, man. That's crazy.
Oh,
I would definitely have Bucks over Nets. I literally
that's nothing.
I'm so basic. Chat, you guys give me your hot takes. God dang it! Why do I got to do all the clippable? He was wrong work. So is that smart to do? That's all. No, I mean, like, I'm only doing one spend up and mid tier the rest of the way, like Luka and Murray. Yeah, that's completely fine. So, Deshaun, it sounds like you might be a little newer to NBA DFS and lineup construction. So like the most elementary way for putting a lineup together is ask yourself, and there's some nuance to this. But the basic way to understand the start of constructing a lineup is, can this guy give me 6x his salary, right? Obviously, I've said it earlier with the 3K guys, the 4K guys, we want them to do more. But generally speaking, let's say you get $50,000 of salary and you need, I don't know, 380 to score first place, right? Divided by 50. So in tournaments, you probably need almost 7x per dollar here. You want your dollars to mean something. So if you think Luka will be the highest raw point scorer or get close to that ROI based on the fantasy salary, roster him, and then the rest of your lineup probably looks a little bit more balanced. So I think that's fine. I don't have any quarrels with that statement, but the statement is a little tricky for for me where like, yes, you could play Luka, you could play AD all you want, but it's really the rest of your lineup that means something, because you're talking about some of the top 5 highest home players on the slate. That's not where you're going to make or break your lineup and differentiate yourself from the field, even in cash games. So as long as you feel good with the rest of your lineup, it's fine to just lean on Luka as your 1 stud or Luka AD as your 2 studs, right? Chronic says JFL over Jokic. Let's go. Jack says Draymond dropping a 50 bomb.
That's strong. 10.
I don't think that's crazy. 7,100. So how about, like, if you thought maybe Draymond outscored Kristaps Porzingis, right? Like, that seems like the zig where others are zagging, and vice versa. I don't think that's a wild take. His minutes are starting to go up. At first we were worried about some conditioning, so it's there for that. We know his assists can be nuts any given Sunday. If LeBron sits, Westbrook would be the highest scorer on the entire slate. Big trouble. That's not a hot take, Quinn. That's not a hot take.
Standard. Yeah, I think that's a pretty standard take. If LeBron sits.
Izzo, Yogan, appreciate you. Everything you do to help us out in DFS, man. I appreciate you for watching and hitting that thumbs up and hitting that subscription button. Jalen Green drops a 50 bomb. Let's go, Dez. Scored 310 on DK with Harden. Duarte, solid process from me right now. Yeah, Harden's looking like, first of all, if you scale back to last year, and I pulled this up on the stream yesterday, so I'll do it again today in case you missed it, Josh. But I don't want to make this sound like me saying Harden was a bad play, and I'm definitely. If you look at his fouls drawn and his free throw attempts, they have plummeted, and you can absolutely credit that to some of the new foul rules. But at the very, very least, the very basic research of running like the NBA Wowie, the usage rates and the fantasy points per minute from last year. Watch this. Kyrie, we take Kyrie off, and then we'll put Harden and KD on. I don't know why it's going a little bit slower than usual. By the way, if you guys want to do this, exclamation point AMF in the chat. Get yourself signed up and check it out. It's a really good resource to add to your daily research game and quickly look at who benefits when certain guys are off, certain guys are on. But if you scale back the clock to last year, dipping into this season, Kyrie Irving off the court and Harden and KD on the court, KD has always been the guy to thrive. Like a lot of people remember Harden without Kyrie, and they don't really think about Harden without Kyrie with KD. Harden only averaged about a fantasy point per minute since the beginning of last year while KD was on the court with Kyrie off. So KD was already the main beneficiary, and then you add in the new foul rules that are definitely taking a hit on some of these guys, especially James Harden. It's looking like Harden. It wouldn't be crazy to see Harden dip to the $8,500 price range before he finds. Wild. I'm just saying before he adjusts. Got to adjust to the adjustments, and right now Harden is definitely struggling to adjust. DeJounte Murray seems like a lock tonight. What up, Zach? I think that's my favorite game stack. If LeBron's out, I'm all over that game. Like you give me Murray, you give me White. Fire him at Westbrook and AD. There's a couple of game stack correlations I like. I talked about Luka Porzingis, or actually, I kind of like Luka and Tim Hardaway more on FanDuel versus Wood and KPJ. But yeah, Dejounte Murray, you got me saying Dejounte Murray and Derek White versus Westy and AD would be a great start. And then as you reach a little bit further, you can grab the Carmelos, you can grab maybe the Jakob Poeltls, guys like that. So I like that quite a bit. Sleepy Joe. What up, Sleepy Joe? How do we feel about Whiteside? So I've actually seen you guys mention Whiteside a few times today. I think he would just be one of those volatile. Ceiling might be worth it, but the minutes is always going to be a little bit risky plays. 16, 19 minutes the last two games. Kind of like Andre Drummond, he's going to overperform points per minute in the minutes that he's given. If you think that this matchup gets a little lopsided because the Utah Jazz are really, really good. Probably the best home team in basketball. Catching the Nuggets night two of a back-to-back. If you think maybe you get an extra couple of minutes of action for Whiteside, yeah, I think he could be a really, really fun play. At 4,500, he's basically just barely being an okay play. In tournaments, go for it. What's this? Maybe his FanDuel price. Blocks is kind of his thing. Blocks 4,800. So you're not really getting a great deal, and he would probably be eliminated from consideration for me if I was able to lock in Drummond. If we got some surprise Embiid out news, right? It's just a triple double upside, but I see that this Lou Dort chalk is weird to me. Is that a thing? Is that really happening? That's right.
Lou Dort's not chalk. I don't think. I think we were just talking about it more here at the Run DFS chat here, but he's definitely not chalk.
Zach says, what happened to Whiteside before getting traded? He was a 9K player. Man, Whiteside's one of those not as good on defense as people might think. I just accidentally closed my dashboard. He's a defensive liability, even though he's a block guy. Him and even Andre Drummond, kind of similar in their game, where they're great fantasy players, but not necessarily great real basketball players. I do like Whiteside. But he's definitely not like an impact player. And Spoelstra and the Heat saw that, and they would bench him down the stretch in the fourth quarter. But yeah, he is going downward in terms of being a significant part of a team. But it is not fair to try and drive to the rack between when Gobert goes to the bench, you replace him with the lanky arms of a Hassan Whiteside. So it is what it is. Anyway, Whiteside goes 10x. There's a hot take. Let's go, Quinn. Lose 26% projected ownership. He's definitely chalk. 26% on the fence on a 5-gamer, but I don't hate it.
5-gamer, yeah.
I'm good fading Sixers today. Will be very high owned across the board. Love guard plays in late games too. All right, Danny. Anything? Did I miss anything? God bless you. Hey, Desmond, I appreciate that. God bless you, brother. All right, Raj. 64 likes, 120 viewers. Chat, if you hate Raj, hit that thumbs up. I'll tell you what, if I get to 80 likes, Raj's not on the show tomorrow. I'm kicking him off.
Hey guys, you guys want to go listen to some Jalen Carter, New Fire, Woulda, Coulda, Shoulda, out on Spotify, Apple Music. Woulda, Coulda, Shoulda. Jalen Carter, baby. Hit it up.
Me.
Yeah, you got to put my name as Jalen Carter next time. It's Jalen Carter now. We got to grow the brand, gun.
Bro, I can't. I know you as Raj. I'm not going to start calling you Jalen.
True, that's what my friends say too. Yeah, it happens.
Giddy goes 8x. Let's go. That's the fourth highest on the slate, though. Yeah, I guess so. DFS Lewis Chalk is over 20% aggregated projected ownership of the top 2 sites. See, 20%, like I guess for you guys that's chalk. For me, that's not chalk. For me, chalk's like 40+% owned. 20% on a 5-game slate, like it's whatever. It falls where it falls. He's not somebody I'm on. But yeah, chalk is like you guys sit around. You'll see some chalk. Chalk is when guys are can't miss value plays at 50% owned.
Yeah, it's when
yesterday J-Ball was 43% owned, right? Like
Westbrook could be 45% owned if LeBron sits.
Yeah, when numbers start getting like that, 20%, it's up there, but I don't know. I guess everyone has their own definition of chalk, but coming from the baseball, football world, man, 20% is 1 in 5. If I pull out like most of my screenshots, like even looking, 5-6 years ago, man, there's still half the players in my lineup were 40-50% owned. So I'm happy if 20% is chalk because then the slate's a little bit more wide open, right? Raj's modern day Maharaja.
I think that's a guru of some sort. That's not racist at all, but okay.
Who could be a beta and dislike the stream, man? Haters are out there, bro. There's some weird people that exist.
There's definitely a lot of weirdos out here, no doubt.
Exists just to be haters, right? Man, 69 likes though. I do like that. Anyway, Raj, maybe you'll be here tomorrow. Maybe you won't, depending on these likes.
We'll wait and see.
But I'll let you go. I'll catch up with you in the pre-locked voice chat,
sure.
And I'll run it out of here, man. I'll catch you next time. Chat. Another one in the books, man. Tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central, we'll be back at it. Man, sometimes my schedule gets a little tight. I do like to put up the first look videos in the morning, or really at night. If I have a hole, sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Last night I was kind of really, really torched, really tired. It's been a long weekend, but I'll try and get something up. It's just a little weird to do first looks the night before because so much changes with how fluid the news and how volatile the news is. So I'll try and get someone. You guys let me know. Do you guys care? Like, do you guys care about those first look videos? I'll get a couple hundred views anyway. If you do want them, if there's some steam on it, yeah, we'll do it. But otherwise, these pre-lock, not even pre-lock, these afternoon streams are fine too. But it's up to you guys. I'll run with the community. I'll go with whatever side you guys are leaning. Josh says I faded JVal because of ownership, but I know the matchup is more important than ownership to me. Yeah, matchup and price point, right? Chalk, if you're coming from the baseball streets, man, chalk has a much higher bust potential than in basketball. Usually in basketball, numbers for multiple projection systems are a parody of each other, and chalk ends up being chalk for a reason because they're probably good plays pre-flop and their bust potential a little bit softer. 6K-ish Jonas Valanciunas on Fanduel was just free, right? So at 43% ownership, when I was happy to see that 60% of the field faded. So that's kind of like for me, that's what the chalk levels for me. But yeah, 20% isn't insignificant. It's just not, it's just not something I'm running to or away from just because, 1 in 5 owned on a 5-game slate. And the last game on the slate is not something I really care about. So it's almost a 4-game slate in my mind. I'll take 20% ownership, whatever. Are you liking Luka and Hardaway on DK or only FanDuel? Basically, I'm going to say basically more on FanDuel. The Tim Hardaway Jr. price point on FanDuel felt a little too soft at 5K. He's 6,700 on DraftKings, so I think the risk reward is much higher and the rewards maybe a little bit more average, but it's really just on FanDuel. Putting Luka, who's at the same price on both sites, and then handcuffing him to a guy like Hardaway will probably be either second or third in real points in that game, depending on how Porzingis shoots. I think that's a good way to get exposure to the Mavericks side of things. And then easily have a couple of run backs from the Rocket side, right? I enjoy the first look, but if you'd rather get extra sleep, that's cool too. You don't like the late game? I don't like the Jazz and Nuggets. Are you calling me out for that? Is that a hot take? I don't like the Jazz and Nuggets. No, I really don't. I mean, yeah, they might burn me, but the Utah Jazz is definitely the hardest game in all of basketball, and to do it on a back-to-back from Denver is, something that exponentially increases the humanistic fatigue and the difficulty. So I'm not that high on it. I will have exposure to it, but it's definitely probably my least favorite game to target. You've been playing on Yahoo a little bit. It's so hard to play multiple sites, and then Yahoo has great contests to play because there's always overlay, and sometimes they even just eat overlay on purpose. But the user end is such a bad experience, man. Trying to navigate through like on Fanduel and DraftKings, DraftKings you can sort by highest scoring lineup and stuff like that. It's hard to know what's live. The other night the live scoring went down, so I didn't know where I needed to late swap to kind of make some lineups live. It's just a bad user experience in terms of site functionality. But it's fine if you care more about money than functionality. And Yahoo's, yeah, they've got a lot of a softer field and better payouts and a lot less rake. So I think it's a good site. I don't play on it every day. Maybe that's a fault to my own, but I've been doing just fine on FanDuel and DraftKings, so I'm cool with that. Zach says, if you're doing the big contest on DraftKings, who are you starting your lineup with? The big contest on DraftKings. So I will say anything I do for DFS tonight is going to be contingent on the availability or lack thereof on Joel Embiid and LeBron James. One or the other being out would shake things up significantly, i.e. if Embiid was out, Andre Drummond would be a lock for me at 5K-ish, and then if LeBron's out, you could really get away with a discounted Westbrook and AD to combine for over 100. As it stands now, man, I really don't have one sharp lock. I'm hoping there's some news to kind of shake things up because everything's just kind of priced appropriately. If I maybe sort my value chart, and I need to get off and resweep projections here. Like, none of these names at the top here look any type of good. Like, even like Lou Dort, I got him for value. I don't necessarily agree with the math behind it, even though it's my own algorithm. So I don't have a lock at all. I would really, really appreciate some guys being out. But I guess if I sort from most fantasy points to least, the mid tier is fine. Probably Derek White, I feel like, has a lot of meat on the bone at his price point still. Christian Wood at 8,400, he could drop 50 plus. We saw Capella and John Collins were doing all right. Wood's got a really good skill set to maybe complement that. I would probably be living in the mid tier quite a bit if all the studs were in, just because I'm not in love with the value. So that's where I'm at there. I wouldn't have a DK lock until we got some news. I hate when you enter a lineup on Yahoo and you cannot edit it then clear. You have to manually change each entry. And then, yeah, like, when you're scrolling through and you're like, what's my good lineup? Like, there's definitely opportunity for improvement for sure. No global swap. Yeah, it's very tough. But from an EV standpoint, there's definitely some contests where you should or where you can have more implied expected value, just because of the overlay and the lower rake and the softer field. So it's not, if you're running one lineup, Yahoo's probably fine. But if you're into multi-entry, it's a little bit trickier. Dort's a lock. He's going to get 6 steals. Hey, I might be way wrong if I'm wrong on Dort tomorrow, I'll be here eating some crow. Same time every day, 3 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Central. Chat, thumbs up before we get out of here. Twitter.com/Gundackers, where you guys can connect with me. I'll be in the RunDFS.com VIP Discord in probably 30 minutes, right? Late lock, man. I hope you guys crush it tonight. Tag me in those screenshots, man. I want to see you guys succeed. My success is your success, and your success is my success, man. I love you guys. I appreciate you making part of my day be part of your day. As always, good luck, God bless, and go win some money.